Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to another Retro RPG. And the winner of the poll this week was Marc Miller's Traveller. So we'll cover that in a second. Now as usual, I'll be back at the end of the video with some channel related stuff, things about the poll, whatever I want to gossip about for a few minutes. But for the moment, let's go over to the desktop and have a look at Marc Miller's Traveller. So this is Marc Miller's Traveller, the 1996 version of Traveller. Now this came out after Games Designers Workshop, GDW, had collapsed. It had financial problems. And Marc Miller, amongst others, who'd founded GDW to create Traveller and many other role-playing games over the years, ended up getting their licenses back. So Marc Miller got the license for Traveller, Twilight 2000, I believe Frank Chadwick got the license for Space 1889 back. Traveller 2300 AD, I believe Marc Miller also got, but this was the one that he decided to bring back out because Traveller was the mainstay of what GDW had done. It's one of the oldest role-playing games out there. Now, GDW had released Traveller, they'd released MegaTraveller, and then they'd released Traveller the New Era. So this was basically Traveller 4th edition. So many people refer to it as Traveller 4th edition. But it doesn't officially say 4th edition anywhere in it. That's not an official title at all. Now, this was only the current version of Traveller for 2 years, because it came out in 1996, and in 1998, GURPS Traveller came out and became the de facto version of Traveller. 2002, another version of Traveller came out, and we've got Mongoose, I believe, who have the license for Traveller now and have released a couple of editions, but I'm really not up to date on the latest ones. Now, this really goes back to basics for Traveller while keeping all the continuity. While it seems like the license had gone back to the original author and they would have lost a lot of things, it really did strip down the rules to the original Traveller sort of levels, but kept the continuity. So all the storyline which had gone on with the Imperium through MegaTraveller and the collapse for the New Era is all part of the history of this. Now, normally I would have a look at the back cover, which just has a lovely picture on it on this. Now, this is artwork by Chris Foss, who is an amazing artist, responsible for so much, so many sort of Amiga game covers, so many sci-fi novel covers in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Really, really gorgeous stuff. And there's colour plates throughout the book. And these really remind me of my youth, of the science fiction novels I used to read as a young boy. I'd go to the library and get books out. Now, inside, the artwork is done mainly by Larry Elmore, who did the cover of Shadowrun, which is one of my favourite pieces of art out there. So the artwork throughout is really, really high quality. Got Marc Miller with the original concept, Lester Smith, Chris Foss doing cover art and interior colour art, Larry Elmore doing interior art, and many, many other names. Ken Whitman there, who did the Psionics and graphic design typesetting, Don Perrin, many of these names we recognise. Anyway, carrying on through, we've got a history of Traveller. So we go through Classic Traveller, MegaTraveller, Traveller the New Era, and then we're into 1996 Traveller, and the ideas behind it, and what they're looking for to do in the future. We've got the foundations of the Traveller universe, and as I said, the interior artwork is really, really nice. But we go through what technology is like, what the social sciences are like, what the ideas are involved in a Traveller universe, characters, adventure, the history of the universe, setting up everything so you can get a real solid feel for what Traveller's about. We've got role-playing in the Traveller universe, and then the sort of de facto what is role-playing section that comes in most role-playing games, let's be honest. What's in this book, the character generation, task system, referee section, etc. And then we're into character generation. So we've got initial character generation, other characteristics and skills, some homeworld and background skills, advanced education, and we've got the first of the Chris Foss colour plates. Now, as I said, these really remind me of the science fiction of my youth. You know, really amazing colours, whereas Science fiction artwork tends to be very greys of starships and things. Chris Foss, you're using really bright colours. Blues, whites, reds. Gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. It's not all straight lines, it's curves. Reminds me nothing so much as Alien with the organic spaceship in that. Anyway, we've got breathing life into your character. College, graduate school, just going through the life of your character and where they're picking up things. Pursuing a career. So the life path. And then mustering out, and you're mustering out benefits. And then we're on to an example character. So, Merchant Captain Alexander L. Jameson. And the use of the name Jameson makes me wonder if that's where the default pilot in Elite comes from, Commander Jameson. Because I know a lot of things out of Elite, the political and lawlessness natures of the planets, all did get lifted from Traveller. We've got a bunch of tables here, taking through college and how long each takes, what you get for going to college or naval academy, what you get for being in the army, marines, merchants, navy, scouts, agents, entertainers, nobles, just all the different things your character can do through their life. Rogue, scholar, or even a rogue scholar, I suppose. Again, Chris Foss artwork, beautiful stuff. Bright yellow and red air hazard patterns on the front. And again, yellow and red. Just such a beautiful picture. This is nothing so much as a beautiful art book, as well as a cool role-playing game. Then we're on to skills. So we've got the skill descriptions. These are all fairly standard. Lovely artwork again. You know, forward observer, forgery, gravity craft, gun combat, gunnery, perception. These sound familiar to anybody who's played any role-playing game. Tactics, vac suit. Then we're on to tasks. Now, one of the things they comment early on is the artwork should not be sexist, explicitly stating a standard of quality that promotes wholesome adventure and eliminates sexually favoured art or content, unacceptable vulgar language, and gratuitous unnecessary violence. Well, setting that standard, I did find the girl in the clinging dress to be a bit odd when you're trying to knock that out. Not that I don't like the artwork, it's really lovely. I just found that they're setting the standard and then they kind of ignore it because it's a lovely piece of artwork. But who am I to complain? We're on to the task system. So how the dice codes work, difficulty modifiers. We've got the combat rules, movement, action status. A rather grungy piece of Chris Foss art on a moon's surface. A factory on an asteroid, venting out dust as it mines the asteroid away. I'm not sure if these are very Traveller, but they are beautiful pieces of artwork. Different things, resolving wounds, stun damage, special cases in combat, whether you're leaping, jumping, unusual environments, mounted combat, etc. Vehicles and robots in combat. Special rules and encounter ranges. Then we're on to the equipment section and money. So, how much does it cost for food and lodging, computers, personal electronics? When you need to change batteries in items. We've got exploration gear, so a backpack or a gravity belt, a torch, various sort of standard adventurer equipment. Medical gear, going from a cryo berth, an icebox, a long-term stabilization for an individual who is dying, different types of medication. Such lovely artwork. I'm really going to keep on going on about this. Really beautiful stuff. Or is it supposed to be that way up? I suppose it's Cityscape. Yes, I held it upside down. Sorry. Got combat gear and weapons. Different weapons here, rifles, submachine guns. Very briefly gone over. It doesn't feel the need to have 16 different types of rifles. It's got a couple of options. We've got artwork of the different equipment. So Battle Dress, which is the Traveller version of Powered Armour. As I've commented, I always find it a bit odd that in every other role-playing game it's Powered Armour, but in Traveller it's Battle Dress, which just sounds like a formal uniform for a soldier. Equipment tables and more artwork, just giving you an idea what stuff looks like in Traveller. We've got different vehicles. This is one section where I'm not that impressed with the artwork. They're decent enough, but I don't really like these designs. They don't look too practical to me. The perspective is slightly odd in some of the pictures. You know, what is that vehicle doing? Is it skidding around a corner? It just seems slightly odd. Wheeled vehicles, tracked vehicles, wheeled vehicles, then we're onto Spacecraft. And basically it goes through the details of the different spacecraft and then has a quick ship design system. So what's the ship's mission? Build its hull, its jump drive, its maneuver drive, to allow you to put in different starships. We go through sections, controls, weapons, miscellaneous equipment, power plant, the crew requirement, what workstations, bridge, quarters, cargo space, calculate the cost. A lot of information in there for you to design a starship, but then as we go on further, we've got some various generic ships. So we've got ships, boats, which are basically shuttlecraft and launches, cutters, and the stats for them. So while you can design your own ships, you do have certain set ones here you can use with images. All the information, so software for the computers, standard thrust drive plates with volume, power, cost, area it takes up, the amount of crew it needs to allow you to design ships. Hull configurations, jump drives, many tables, as would generally be required in designing a spaceship for a game. What else we got? Just everything as we went through before: workstations, quarters, cargo tables. And then we're on to the space travel section itself, explaining how interplanetary travel and interstellar travel works in Traveller. And then we're on to the space combat section, just detailing out how combat works, missiles, laser batteries, sandcasters, the way that you throw dirt out into space basically to block lasers, whether you're launching a smaller craft to fight. We've got sequence of play for space combat. And then we're on to the psionics section. And Psionic Institute, Psionic Strength, Training, Psi Drugs, and various powers: clairvoyance, telekinesis, teleportation. We've got world generation, because of course Traveller is a massive, basically unmapped universe where the Games Master has to design each planet which the players are going to arrive. You know, what's the lore level, what's tech level. And lots of tables to support all this, you know, trade classifications, what government, technological levels, what the population is, lore level, world generation checklist at the end. And then on to creating encounters. So random encounters, rumours which would lead players into it, legal encounters, reactions, the referee's responsibility with animals, creating encounter tables. Ah, beautiful colours in that piece of art there. Using encounter tables, events, basically how to create up events within your game without writing out a massive adventure. We've got the major races of the galaxy in Traveller: the Kukri, the Solomani, the Varga, the Zodani, and then minor races listed out here. More tables involved in creating encounters, and the referee's introduction, so talking through your first approach to Traveller. Signs of a good referee, how to begin an adventure, game time, outside influences, character experience for the end of the game and the end of sessions, how characters improve, learning new skills, improving characteristics, and then some hints on running adventures and campaigns. running traveller campaigns, trade and commerce, because your players may decide instead of going out adventuring, they want to take cargo and they become Han Solos taking stuff between the worlds. Computing cost of goods and selling price, types of interstellar trade goods. We've got classifications here, and more tables. And we have, at the very end, Exit Visa, a short adventure for Traveller. It concerns the exploits of the crew of a free trader on the word Allel. Again, beautiful artwork. They really did a good job in getting Chris Foss involved, talking through the adventure. We've got another one here, Rubicon Cross, adventure scenario for Traveller. It doesn't really brief you. Player characters come across two vessels floating eerily near an asteroid belt. One a free trader, the other an unmarked but armed ship's boat. So not much more than an encounter. And then at the end, we've got various handouts, maps, the character sheet, library data here. Going right up to the end, and then we've got the index. And one of the things I do love about this version is that we've got a photograph of the crew behind it. So we've got Larry Elmore there, Marc Miller, Lester Smith, Timothy Brown, Ash Marler, bottom row, Tony Lee, Ken Whitman, Greg Porter, Don Perrin, bottom row, Chris Foss. So Chris Foss there. The team behind it all, with future products. And something I found quite odd, an advert for Arcane magazine. I think I've got every issue of Arcane sitting somewhere in a cupboard, probably in storage, but I loved that magazine. It was great. I kind of miss role-playing magazines where they would give you glimpses into other role-playing games, and just every month you would get adventure ideas and just news. I really do miss those. I know we've got the web now where you can get all that kind of stuff, but magazines, I just adored the random dip in rather than getting exactly what you're searching for. So if I want a Cthulhu adventure, I know where to go to get Cthulhu adventures, but I'm not likely to encounter a RuneQuest adventure, which might intrigue me and get me into that game. So that was Marc Miller's Traveller. And with that removed from the poll, that creates a space, which I put in Lunar Rising for the Trinity role-playing game from White Wolf Studios in 1998. Now, Trinity was an interesting idea, especially coming from White Wolf, who become so famous for their World of Darkness, the vampire, werewolf, mage, wraith, changeling series of games. And Trinity and Aberrant, which was in the same line, were really interesting ideas going into science fiction and psychic powers and all that. But I've got a feeling not as many people will be interested in that, but we'll see how it does. Now, the only other channel news I've got is I've been having a few massive comments left on some of my videos. People really breaking down things that I don't know about role-playing games. And that's kind of the point of this channel. I don't know everything about role-playing games. I never claim to know everything about the games I'm talking about. Mainly, it's me, a fat Scottish guy, talking about a game that he bought, something out of my collection that I've got some knowledge of. I tend to look through the games for an hour or two the night before I shoot the videos, so they're a little fresh in my mind, but mainly I'm talking memories from reading through them years ago, bits of play perhaps 20 or 30 years ago when we tried out the games, me and my friends. I don't claim to be any expert. There are plenty of experts out there. On my recent Star Trek videos, Jack Photon has been commenting, and he is an expert on the Star Trek role-playing game. He knows far more than I do, and I bow to his knowledge. I think that's wonderful, but I'm not that guy. I dipped into role-playing games. I know a lot about a few, but most of the games that I present, I really don't know that much about. It's just an idea that I want to present these things that perhaps you haven't seen, so you can have a glimpse between the covers and hear my thoughts, if you're interested in that kind of thing. But I suppose I've whittled on for quite long enough. So thank you very much for watching. And as always, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.